Dr. Angela McBurdy of DoctorFlute.com, and today I'm in Orlando, Florida at the National Flute Convention talking to flutist composer Nicole Chamberlain. So, nice to have you here.
Thanks for having
me.
In the studio. Appreciate it.
I'd like to talk to you about your background because the little bit that I know, you didn't always just be a flutist composer.
No, I spent 10 years as a web designer. My other degree was I have a degree in music composition, and then my other degree was in digital media. So I did 3D animation for a long time.
Wow.
And worked for a children's multimedia company and wrote their soundtracks. But then
so you were composing.
I was composing. I was a composer for hire.
Okay.
So I was salaried, and I would just do soundtracks, and sometimes they would do independent movies, and I would do those.
Okay.
But then I gradually had to move on to a different field, more web design, and I did that for 5 years, and that was fun for a while. But then it wasn't, so I decided I was teaching flute lessons after I was at work. And I was in a grumpy mood right after work and in a better mood after teaching lessons.
So that kind of clued you in.
Yeah. So I realized I needed to make a change.
I see. So, and that's a pretty big change. Now, do you have a music degree or is it all web?
Yes, I have a music degree. So I have 2 bachelors.
Okay.
They were separate degrees or separate schools where I went. So it wasn't a double major, oddly enough. It was two
separate bachelor degrees. Yeah. Okay.
So.
Well, that's very interesting. Your compositions are gaining in popularity, and they're getting more well-known. Like here at the convention, was it 4 pieces are being performed or more?
It's been about 2 or 3 a day.
2 or 3 a day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a high number for any composer.
Yeah.
So have you felt like this is it? People really are learning who you are as a composer?
Maybe. Mostly I'm thinking ahead, hoping I'm not wearing out my welcome and trying to diversify a little bit so I don't, burn out everybody on it.
Yeah.
So I'm always trying to think of ways to make what I'm doing more interesting. So for me, it's a clue that I need to start shaking things up a bit. And I'm not 100% sure, sure what that is. But for now, it's translating to writing for other instruments.
So you're moving past the flute world.
Not past, but I'm trying to break it up a little bit.
Yes.
To make sure I'm not writing the same thing over and over again.
So tell me a little bit about your compositional style.
So my composition professor was Dr. William Davis. He was my main composition professor, and he was a bassoonist. And when I was studying with him, he really wanted me to get in extended techniques. And I didn't really understand the whole process of writing as much, and I didn't feel comfortable just doing that just yet. But he was always a big advocate for it, and to perform while you play. He was an avid performer, and it was quite good, and especially in extended techniques. And
bassoon extended techniques.
Yes, bassoon extended techniques. But he loved all extended techniques when he wrote. But it wasn't until after I got out of school where I felt more comfortable having written every day for a company. I felt like I could finally stitch a tune together properly.
Your confidence.
Yeah, and then starting to write with extended techniques, pretty much how string players use them in like pizzicato, like they'll play them all the time and integrate it into the composition. And so that's what I wanted to do for flute, was not make it a laundry list of techniques to do, but make it the piece doesn't work without them.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. So I think that what I have enjoyed in playing, I've played Stridulation, which is a piece for 2 flutes and cello. However, I did it for 2 flutes and marimba.
Which is interesting, because I wonder how it worked without the cello extended technique.
It worked.
Yeah?
What
did you do for some of the thumping?
He would click his mallets in the air.
And what about the Bartok pits? Because there was a lot of Bartok pits in there.
I left it up to him.
Okay. It'd be interesting in hearing that, because I didn't know about that. Yeah.
I didn't put it up on YouTube, but I'll listen to our recordings of it.
Yeah.
But it was really quite fun. And if you don't know, stridulation is the sound a cricket makes. That's their wings rubbing together. And so the flutes imitate that throughout the piece. And it makes it very interesting. So you have extended techniques in there. You've got pizzicato tonguing, you've got jet whistles. There's a little bit of beatboxing types of techniques in there. But I think that your music has that, all of your compositions, for flute anyway, have those filtered through, right? But they're not done in a scary way. They're done in a fun way and makes the pieces just really fun to perform.
Oh, thanks.
I think so. I've also worked on French Quarter, which is a great piece for a flute quartet. And it's simulating sounds from New Orleans, right?
It's written for the convention, the NFA convention in 2013.
Ah, okay. Yeah, and that's a great piece. But I know that a couple of your other pieces I haven't performed, but I've heard and looked at. And so they're all, I think, great compositions to put on your program if you're putting a recital together, because it breaks up some of the really heavy, serious pieces and gives you something and gives the audience something different to listen to that might make them smile. Yeah. So I think that there would be a great addition. Take a look at these compositions. I think it's NikkiNotes.com.
Yes, it is. Nikki.
Right,
Yeah.
so put 2 Ks in there. NikkiNotes.com, and check out some of her compositions. I think most of them you have a recording or something to listen to.
Yes, most of them have live recordings. I think it's very few MIDIs anymore.
Right. I was going to ask you, what other compositions have you been commissioned to do lately?
The latest have been a tuba and electronics piece, which is really different than what I've been doing. And that was fun. It was inspired with some NASA sounds that they had released, some public domain sounds, and I got permission to use them specifically for writing a piece. So that was exciting. And those will be coming out soon, hopefully. Bill Pritchard commissioned those. I'm writing a band piece for middle school band.
Middle school band.
Hopewell Middle School in Atlanta. My friend Audrey Murphy is the conductor of that. And some flute choir pieces.
Oh, beautiful.
So there's at least two more to happen. I haven't started yet, coming up.
And I think you're not afraid to write for unusual combinations.
Right, if there's a need.
Yes.
And sometimes I don't want to write for them, and then someone will ask me, and it takes me some time to think about it and figure it out, and then it always surprises me how much fun that challenge is. Yeah.
What's your most unusual so far? I mean, tuba electronics is
pretty different.
Kind of interesting.
I felt like I had recently just did 2 flutes and soprano saxophone, which I haven't written a lot of saxophone, and trying to find that evenness. And mixing up very different instruments for me was interesting and fun, with like flute and viola and cello, and trying to get those to operate together. But actually, now that I'm talking, flute, French horn, and piano was really challenging.
Yes.
And that was recent.
Horn and flute is an interesting combination.
It worked out. It worked out great.
Oh, nice.
That's
nice.
Blue Plate. So the kitchen sink premiered that, commissioned it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think is there a recording of that one?
Oh yeah,
yeah,
it's on there. I have it on my website, and the kitchen sink. Sink is SYNC.
NC.
Have quite a few videos of that. They've been playing it a lot because there's not a lot of rep for them yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have to commission your own. If you're an unusual combo.
Right. And there's a need, because I've met so many flute players that are either really good friends with a horn player or married to one, and so they are always looking for that kind of stuff.
Yeah. And I think it's nice because sometimes, like I'm located in a small town, and so I play with a percussionist because that's who's available. Right. And so we're always looking for 2 flutes and percussion, which there's little for 2 flutes and percussion. There's a lot for flute and marimba.
Yeah, I have 2 flutes and 2 percussion. So if you squeeze one more in.
Squeeze one more. Yeah, you can do that.
But if you live in a small area, I mean, and people forget that it's about also not only who you can find, but who you work well with, and that's a very important factor, because you're going to be living with these people for many frustrating hours.
And we've all had the person that we don't really play well with.
Right, and it can really just take the air out of the tires.
Right. Yeah. So you do want to find your combo that is comfortable for you.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes. So check out NikkiNotes.com with 2 Ks. And look at her and listen to her compositions. And I think you have an album.
Yes, I do have an album. 3-9 Line. It's with Dr. Mary Matthews, who's the new professor at Tennessee Tech, and Matthew Angelo. And then we had a fabulous pianist, Jessica Nillis,
And you're on it too?
Oh, I'm on
Yes,
it too.
yes, I thought
I
so.
mean, I'm only on it like twice. I play the trios, and then I let them do the hard stuff.
So look those up. You'll enjoy hearing her compositions, and if you're wanting a commission, she's available.